Senator Alex Padilla, I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your heads off.
How many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their job?
That's new video this midday. Senator Alex Padilla had to be physically removed from a press conference in Los Angeles. This is captured by Fox News reporter Bill Melligin. The conference was held by Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, and in the video, as you can see, Senator Padilla is being grabbed by multiple men and being forced out of the room. Now, CNN reports that he was trying to shout questions at the secretary before security stepped in. The news conference comes amid days of protests against her agency and its immigration enforcement actions. Senator Padilla has been critical of the Trump administration's response to immigration protests in Southern California.
When it comes to Los Angeles or other cities, if we see other cities are gearing up, and these people are agitators, they're paid, they're professionals, they're insurrectionists, they're troublemakers, they're all of those things, but I believe they're paid.
Meanwhile, President Trump is calling on an investigation into people protesting against immigration enforcement officials, saying what they are doing is unbelievably illegal. Good morning, I'm Carl Cook. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Marines are set to be deployed to L.A. before the end of this week. This afternoon, a federal judge will hear from both Governor Gavin Newsom and the Trump administration following the governor's request for an emergency order to block the president from using the National Guard for immigration enforcement. Meanwhile, the Trump administration says it's willing to send troops to other cities in the U.S. as protests against ICE continue to pop up across the country. Out in Indianapolis, people gathered outside the NBA Finals yesterday.
We want ICE out of our communities. We have seen what's gone on in Los Angeles. We've seen what's been happening in other cities. We've seen what's happened in Jackson County, Indiana just today, and we are sick and tired of it. These people that ICE are taking are our neighbors, they're our friends, our co-workers, and we want them to stay in our communities, not be ripped away from them.
Organizers say they will be willing to be protesting again on Saturday. And hundreds of protesters gathered in downtown San Antonio outside of City Hall. Some participants expressed frustration, stating they supported deportations of undocumented immigrants who committed crimes, not those who have lived and worked peacefully in the U.S. for years. One protester saying, quote, "Seeking a better life is not a crime." The protests remained calm with no reported incidents, and more protests are planned for the weekend. In Tucson, tensions boiled over during protests leading to some arrests. It started out peacefully with about 300 people coming out, holding up signs criticizing the Trump administration and actions by immigration officials. But eventually, protesters split, with some breaking through a barricade in front of an ICE office. Some threw objects, as you can see. Graffitiing happened and windows were smashed. It led to over 40 police officers in riot gear showing up as protesters say they didn't wanted to get to this point, and they hope the message wasn't lost among the chaos.
I mean, it's clear that there are a lot of folks in this group who mean business, and the police had to be called out. But you know what? I think in the end, the people are going to win this.
I think we're just standing up for what's right. It's not even really political anymore. It's just about morals, and it's about being a human being.
Protesters eventually made their way back, but about an hour later, police moved in, pushing them further away. And that is when things escalated again. At least 3 people were taken into custody. And this morning, we spoke with Alex Michelson, the host of The Issue Is, about the developing situation in Southern California. He says it isn't exactly as chaotic as the president seems to be suggesting.
It's about 1 square mile where the worst of it was happening. So what the mayor did was put a curfew on that 1 square mile overnight, which is when most of the worst stuff was happening. And so far, that curfew is really working. We've seen in the last 2 days a huge number of LAPD very visibly out in force, basically sending the message, we're kind of over this now, which was not the message, frankly, a couple days ago when the LAPD was kind of seen standing around as a lot of this stuff happened. So far, that policing is working, but we'll see. As you mentioned, Saturday is a big test, not only in Southern California, but around the state. There's going to be protests for this No King's Day, because President Trump is going to be hosting a military parade celebrating the birthday of the military and his own birthday. And there's going to be protests around the state, and that's going to be a real test.
Now back here in the Central Valley for that No Kings Day that Michelson just mentioned, 2 events are scheduled in Fresno for that No Kings Day. One will be on Blackstone and Nees and the other on Shaw and Fresno Street. Some are already getting ahead, starting with banners and signs in Fresno. There were a lot of drivers honking their horns more than usual yesterday near Highway 41 in Shaw and Fresno during rush hour. Drivers are responding to a sign that read, "Honk for Democracy," placed on the highway overpass. Organizers say it's part of an early push to spread the word about No Kings Day.
We're drawing attention to the event that's going to be happening all over the country on Saturday, where millions of people are going to be standing in the streets disapproving of the president's military parade for his birthday, of his actions in Los Angeles, generally of his demolishing of our democracy.
Now, on that same day, President Trump plans to showcase America's military power with the parade costing about $45 million. And like Alex Michelson said, it also happens to fall on the president's 79th birthday. This is leading some to question the real motive behind the celebration. Speaking from the Oval Office on Tuesday, President Trump said anyone protesting the military parade in Washington will be met with force.
We're going to be celebrating big on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protester that wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest.
According to the Army, more than 6,000 soldiers, 150 vehicles, including tanks, and over 50 aircrafts will be part of the celebration. Now, the last time D.C. hosted a military parade was back in 1991 to mark the end of the Gulf War. According to a Washington Post investigation, that event cost $8 million.